Assalamu alaikum. Have you ever prayed but felt nothing? Not because you stopped believing, not because you wanted to disobey Allah, but because your heart simply felt tired. You recite the Qur'an, yet the tears don't come. You make dua, but the emotions seem distant. You remember Allah, but the sweetness you once felt feels harder to find. And that can be frightening because when you have tasted the beauty of a heart that feels alive in worship, you notice when something changes. You notice when your soul feels quiet. You notice when your heart feels heavy. You notice when you are going through the motions but secretly asking yourself, where did that connection go? Maybe someone listening right now knows exactly what that feels like. You still pray, you still believe, you still love Allah, but something inside feels numb. And perhaps the most beautiful thing you can do in that moment is not pretend everything is fine. Instead, turn to Allah honestly. Tell Him exactly how you feel. Ya Allah, bring my heart back to life. Because the believer does not only ask Allah for provision, success, or ease. The believer asks Allah for a living heart, a heart that remembers Him, a heart that longs for Him, a heart that softens when His words are recited. Recently, I reflected on a powerful reminder that completely changed my perspective. Someone once said, if you want to find your heart, look for it in three places. First place is with the Quran, the second is when you are reminded of that, and the third is when you are completely alone. Think about that. When you open the Quran, does your heart listen? Not perfectly, not emotionally every single time, but does it still recognize that these are the words of Allah? Because there is something extraordinary about the Quran. It reaches places inside us that nothing else can reach. There are wounds people cannot heal, memories people cannot erase, questions people cannot answer, yet Allah sends a verse that lands exactly where it needs to. A verse you have read before, a verse you have heard many times. Yet suddenly it feels as though it was revealed specifically for you. That is the mercy of Allah. The second place is when you are reminded of that, not in a way that causes despair, but in a way that creates clarity. Even Funreal reminds us that this world is temporary. Every passing reminds us that one day our own name will be spoken in the past tense. And suddenly, many of the things we worried about yesterday no longer seem so important. The arguments, the comparisons, the endless pursuit of approval, all of it becomes smaller because the heart remembers its destination. And then there is the third place, the place nobody else sees, your private moments. Who are you when nobody is watching? What occupies your heart when the world becomes quiet? Because true faith is not only what happens in public, it is what happens when you are alone with Allah. It is remembering that He sees you. It is speaking to Him when nobody else knows. It is resisting a sin because you know your Lord is watching. It is choosing sincerity over appearance. This is the station of ihsan. To worship Allah as though you see Him and even though you cannot see Him. To know with certainty that He sees you. And perhaps that's the message someone needs today. Your heart is not lost. It is not broken beyond repair. It is not forgotten. It simply needs to return to its source. Return to the Quran, return to reflection, return to private conversations with Allah. Ask Him to remind you of Him. Ask Him to soften your heart. Ask Him to revive your faith. Because Allah never gets tired of hearing your voice, and if you are listening to this reminder today, maybe that's already a sign of His mercy. Maybe Allah is reminding you that His door is still open, that you are still welcome, that no matter how distant you feel, He is closer than you think, and the heart that turns back to Allah sincerely will always find its way home.